The trade deadline has come and gone, and I'm about to break down all the Mets moves made before August 3rd. So if you're a fan of the best team in New York, drop a like and a sub on the video, and let's get into it. The Mets had 4 clear needs that Billy Eppler had to figure out at the trade deadline. 1. Solidify the 6 through 9 portion of the lineup. 2. Finding a solution to the DH problem. 3. Bolstering the middle relief. And 4. Preferably finding a lefty reliever. Eppler went 3 for 4. That is a good, not great deadline. Now, if you went to Mets social media, you would have thought that Billy Eppler is the worst GM of all time. You would think that he is completely inept at his job, that he has no clue what he's doing, and that he doesn't deserve to run the front office. Those are obviously hot takes and overreaction, but they're understandable and justifiable. The reason why there was such a negative overreaction to the Mets deadline is because of what all the fans were dreaming about a month before the deadline happened. And that is solely because we got ourselves worked up thinking about a Juan Soto trade and thinking about potential package with the Cubs. Now, as far as the Juan trade goes, let's just talk about this quick, get it out of the way, because it's a deal I thought the Mets should have done everything they could to make happen. Once the Nationals said they weren't trading him inside the NL East, it was over. There was nothing else the Mets could do. Was it smart of the Nationals to immediately remove one of the 4 best offers that they would have gotten for Soto off the table at the start? Absolutely not. That's really dumb negotiating. That's why their franchise is in the shape that they're in right now. Their front office has completely dropped the ball the last 3 years, but the Mets have no control over that. So Soto's gone. There's no chance of that. The problem with the Cubs package, Robertson, Contreras, and Ian Happ are all really solid players. They all would have improved every single aspect of the Mets team if they came on here. All of that became irrelevant, though, when the Cubs refused to come off their asking price. They wanted way too much. I don't believe in hoarding prospects. I like having prospects. Having a good farm team is great, but I always want to take the proven commodity over the potential player. I wasn't opposed to trading any Mets prospects, especially the top ones. I just was not going to do it for someone that wasn't going to be a significant upgrade. We needed Juan Soto back to move the pieces. So the fact that we couldn't get him, there was no one else of his caliber or near his caliber available at the deadline, and the Mets hang on to all their prospects that are meaningful, that's an A+ by Eppler. He didn't cave. The thing that sucks here is that he made 3 really smart, really good moves, and then 1 really stupid one with the resources that they could spend. The first move Eppler made that was a great move, he gets an A- on it from me, was going out and getting Daniel Vogelbach for Colin Holderman. If he could have given up a minor leaguer that had no chance of making the majors, I would have given this trade an A+. I actually hated at the time and still don't love that we had to give up Holderman in this deal. Holderman is really solid. You can tell he's got guts, he's got mental fortitude, he doesn't get rattled, he's got decent stuff. He's probably going to be a solid pitcher for a long time. The reason why it was okay to give up that piece is because Vogelbach is cheap this year, he's cheap next year, and he has another year of arbitration after that. So this is a move for the Mets that gives them a resource for 2.5 years. It's not like it was a full-on rental. This is going to impact their team for the foreseeable future. And Vogelbach is making an immediate impact, and it's not surprising. He's got a good eye at the plate. He always has really good at-bats. He smokes the ball off of right-handed pitching. He provides Pete with protection, and in this Mets lineup, he's going to see much better pitches to hit than he was seeing on the Pirates. It was a great move from Eppler getting Vogelbach. The next trade Billy made was going out and getting Tyler Naquin from the Reds, and all that cost was inconsequential minor leaguers that are probably never going to make any kind of a major impact. Naquin is another guy who hits the ball very well off of right-handed pitching. He's got pop against righties, and he's a solid corner outfielder. He could play emergency center field. He's pretty athletic. A guy like that in the Reds was useless. A guy like that in the Mets is a very, very useful piece. I'm going to give it an A+ because the Mets really gave up nothing and got a really solid piece. The next trade the Mets made that we're talking about here, Darren Ruff in exchange for J.D. Davis and 3 minor leaguers heading the Giants' way, with Thomas Szapucki headlining that. We've seen Szapucki a couple of times. He is absolutely terrible. He sucks. I don't see any way that he can salvage his career at a major league level. There's no other way to put it. The other part of the deal, J.D. Davis could excel out there. It wouldn't matter. He was not going to bounce back in New York. His best days as a Met were behind him, so I had no problem with that deal. And the piece they got back was huge. Ruff absolutely kills left-handed pitching. He's a veteran. He understands how this goes. He's been good in big games in the past. He's a solid player to add in a stretch run for the playoffs. And the most important part is he's controllable just like Vogelbach, and he kills lefties. So him and Vogelbach complement each other perfectly. Solid move for the present and the future by Eppler. I give it a B+ because I think they gave up a little bit too much. The final trade Eppler made is the one where he dropped the ball. This is the one that hurts the overall trade deadline grade, and the irony of it is, it involved 2 aspects that Met fans were hoping for. He made a deal with the Cubs, and he got a reliever. The problem was it was Michael Gibbons. Gibbons is a solid veteran. He's not having a special year. I'm sure Showalter had an impact on this move. He coached Gibbons out when he was on the Baltimore Orioles, when he was a shutdown reliever. And I know that he's been awful the first 3 relief appearances for the Mets, and I'm not even going to hold that against him when I'm talking about this deal. The reason why it made no sense is because the Mets needed to get a lefty reliever. Andrew Chafin was made available, and it was publicly known 3 days ahead of the deadline that he was available. That would have made all the sense in the world for the Mets to grab. I can't imagine that he would have cost a lot. If he did, if I was the Mets, I would have immediately, and I mean the second after hanging up the phone with the Tigers, would have leaked that the asking price for a rental reliever was asinine. The most concerning thing to me about the Mets season moving forward, it was not who was in the division, it was not whether we were going to win the East or we were going to be a wild card spot, because that stuff is all locked up. The thing I was the most worried about was having to get a huge out in a critical situation in the postseason against a lefty batter. You look at all the teams that are going to be in it. You're talking Padres Juan Soto. You're talking Phillies Bryce Harper. You're talking Dodgers Freddie Freeman. Every single round the Mets have, it's almost certain that they're going to need to get a big lefty out, and they did not go out and get a piece that would have helped that situation tremendously. I hate that they didn't get a lefty reliever, and that is why the overall grade for them is a B-. That one decision to not give up a little bit more than it would have cost to get Gibbons to go out and get a lefty reliever is the difference between an A- grade to a B-, and we're all going to have that one moment in the playoffs when Harper or Soto or Freeman is at the dish and we're just stuck with a bad matchup, and you gotta hope against hope that they choke the at-bat or that they hit the ball hard to a fielder. Because if it doesn't happen in that spot, that could be the Achilles heel for this Mets team that takes them down in the postseason. But overall, Eppler did do a good job at the deadline. He got too much hate for it. I understand the frustration. I understand the criticism. It was a pipe dream to go out and get Soto. The Cubs made it unrealistic to go out and get Contreras and Robertson and Happ, who would have really helped the team. So with what was available, Billy did as good of a job as he could have done besides missing out on the lefty reliever. But that is going to be it for this video. And to make sure you don't miss out on the next one, hit the like button, hit the sub button. I'll see you guys in that one. Take care.